Dear grade 10 students, welcome back to our English class, and our lesson today is writing Unit 7, Writing a Summary of a Story, Part 2. Please open your student book page 95 and let's get started. Let's start with the objectives of the lesson. Today, we have 3 objectives. Number 1, recall the differences between an extract and a summary of a story. Number 2, plan for writing a summary of a story. And finally, write a summary of a story extract. Now let's remember together the features of writing a summary and the features of writing an extract. Let's answer the following question. What are the differences between a story extract and a summary? Now I expect you to pause the video for a while. Try to write down some of the features of a story extract and the features of the summary. And now, let's find out the answer together. I want you to read the following sentences and write E if the sentence refers to the extract. Write S if the sentence refers to one of the features of a summary. Now please pause the video for a while and start answering. And now let's answer together. Number 1. It includes detailed description and minor characters. So, in which one do we include more details and in which one we talk about the minor characters? Is it in the extract or in the summary? Can you say the answer? That's correct. It is in an extract. We can only mention the minor characters in a summary if they affect the main events of the story. Number 2, it includes summary of the main events and the major characters. Can you think of the answer? That's correct. It is a feature of a summary. We only focus on the main events of the extract and talk about the major characters. Number 3, it includes parts of the original text. So when we write a summary, do we have to include parts from the original text? That's correct. The correct answer is E. We are not supposed to include parts of the original text when we write a summary. Okay. Number 4, the writer doesn't express his opinion. However, he might point out what he thinks the message of the original text is. So, the correct answer is, that's right. This is one of the summary features. Number 5, you can use your own words and not copy it from the original text. So remember that in an extract, you might include parts of the original text. But in a summary, that's right, you use your own words without copying from the original text. The writer provides only the information mentioned in the extract. The writer doesn't include more information which wasn't mentioned in the extract. So, this is a feature of, that's right, a feature of writing a summary. And finally, the title and the author must be mentioned. So, that's right. Here, it's a feature of a summary and a feature of an extract as well. Let's take another exercise in your student book, page 95, exercise C. Let's read the phrases from A to J and answer questions from 1 to 8. Write the correct letters in the boxes. Here we have some phrases that we can use when we write a summary of a story. And here we have the functions of each one. Now, let's read, for example, A. The scene takes place in a, so the key word here is takes place in. And it answers the question, where? Because it gives me information about the place. So can you look at the functions and choose the correct one? That's right. So, the correct function here is to describe where the scenes take place. Now, please pause the video for a while. Try to answer the rest of the phrases. Welcome back. Let's go to B. The incident occurred because. So the keyword here is because. And it gives me information about the reason. So it answers the question why. That's right. So can you look at these functions and tell me the answer? Correct. The function of this phrase is to explain why the events happen. See, the main character in this extract is, and here he's talking about the main character. So this phrase answers the question who. So what is the function of this phrase? Let's look at these functions. What's the correct answer? That's right. It's number 1. We can use it to introduce the main characters of the story. D. The story takes place during. So, the word during refers to what? Can you think of the answer? What question does it answer? That's right. Gives me information about the time. So it answers the question when. Can you tell me what's the function of this phrase? That's correct. It is to describe when the events occur. E. The message behind this piece seems to be that. So what's the key word here? That's right. It's the message. And it refers to the moral of this piece. So what is the function of this phrase? That's correct. It is to present the moral. So let's go to the next one. F. The next thing that happens is that. So the keywords, yes, that's correct. The next thing. It refers to one of the main events. So what is the function of this phrase? Can you say the answer? That's correct. It is to describe the main events. G. The key issue dealt with in the text is. So I have here the keywords, the key issue. So what's the key issue? That's right. It means the theme of the story. So do you remember what the word theme means? That's correct. It means the central idea of the story. So what is the function of this phrase? That's right. It is to present the main theme of the story. H. The key incident here is when. So the word the key incident, that's right, refers to the main event. So what is the function of this phrase? It is to describe the main events of the story. I. They achieve by. That's correct. It answers the question how. So what is the function of this phrase? That's right. It's to describe how the events happen. Finally, the passage is set sometime in. So the keyword is time. That's right. It answers the question correct. When. So what's the function of this phrase? That's right. It is to describe when the events occur. Now let's go to another activity in your student book, page 95, exercise D. Before planning and writing your summary, I want you to read the tips and the extract from an adapted version of a famous novel on page 139. It's adapted from Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Then we will go to the workbook, page 80 to 82, to plan and write our summary. Let's look at these points before starting to plan. Number 1, read the extract you are going to summarize wants to get the main idea. Then, read it again to make notes on the part of the story you are summarizing by answering these questions. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Then develop your notes into a paragraph. Do not include your own ideas or opinion about the characters or the events mentioned. Remember also that you shouldn't mention the minor characters unless they influence the outcome of the events. Remember not to copy sentences or parts of sentences. You must summarize the writer's ideas using your own words. You do not need to quote parts of the extract or give evidence or examples to support what you are saying. Use mostly present tenses. Remember to include the title and the author of the original text. And now let's start planning for writing your own summary. Please pause the video for a while. Go to your student book, page 139. Read the extract well. Now, let's go to your workbook, page 80. Read these notes before planning. The first one or two sentences must describe the main characters of the extract. So we should mention who the main characters are. We also have to mention the setting, like where and when. You can use these questions to help you find the answers from the extract and use the answers to write your summary. Who are the main characters? Where do the events take place? When do the events take place? Pause the video for a while. Try to highlight the answers of these questions from your textbook. The next 2 or 3 sentences must talk about the theme of the extract or the central idea of the extract. You also have to start describing the main events that happen. So, you can use these questions and highlight the answers in your textbook. What are the main events? What is the theme of the extract? In the next sentences, you have to discuss the details of the extract that support the main theme, such as how the characters try to deal with the situation or react to the events. So, we answer 2 questions here: how the characters deal with the situation and why. Remember that details should be presented in a chronological order. The final sentence should explain the message or the moral of the extract. What is the moral of the extract? Let's start the planning for the summary. Please, before starting, make sure that you have read the extract in your student book, page 139. Sentences 1 and 2. Who are the main characters of the story? When and where does the story take place? So, here, I want you to answer these questions. Who, where, and finally, when does the story occur? Pause the video for a while. Highlight the answers in your student book. Let's answer together. So, who are the main characters of the story? That's correct. The main characters are Robinson Crusoe, an 18-year-old man who decides to sail on a ship, and the captain of the ship. Where? On board of a ship ending up being in Yarmouth. When? The passage is set sometime in 1651 when Robinson Crusoe begins his travels. Sentences 3 and 4. What is the main theme? And remember here that the word main theme means the central idea of the story. What are the main events of the story? Please pause the video for a while. Try to find out the answer. Let's answer together. To talk about the main theme, we can say, the key issue dealt with here is the man's need for adventure. And now, the main events. One of the possible answers is to say, the key incident takes place 6 days after the ship on which Robinson Crusoe has boarded starts its journey. The strong wind and the enormous waves make the captain of the ship believe that they will not survive the storm. Let's now go to sentences 5 and 6. How do the events take place? And why do the events take place? So now, I want you to answer these questions from the text. Let's continue. How? You might say the captain fires his gun to ask for help from other ships. The boat which arrives helps everyone arrive safely on land in the end. Why? Because the captain wants to try to save his life and the lives of his crew. And finally, the last sentence talks about the message or the moral of the story. What do you think the message or the moral of the story is? Pause the video for a while and write down the moral of the story. So let's see one of the possible answers. The moral of the extract is to have courage in all situations and to never give up. Now let's write your own summary of Robinson Crusoe. Now I want you to pause the video for a while. Start writing your own summary. Remember here that you have to use your own words and do not copy parts from the original text. Here is one of the possible answers. Please pause the video, read the summary, compare it to your own summary. Thank you so much.